Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the SK Planet Pro League. These are the matches from this morning. It's going to be Samsung Khan versus Air Force Ace first, and then I think it's CJ, or no, sorry, that's tomorrow. It's SKT1 versus STX Seoul after this. And that is Sharp from Samsung Khan. He looks super nervous. He keeps glancing at the camera too. Is this his first time playing on TV or something? I know he's one of the rookies, but I'm not sure if he's made an appearance before. Anyways, so I actually don't know what races these guys are. What what races are these guys? It doesn't say on the VOD, and since I'm actually for some reason these VODs are not on Team Liquid. They're not in the small VOD thread, and they're not in the live report thread. So yeah, I need somebody to link me to the games and whatnot, and also tell me what race these guys are. It's a TVZ. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know Orion's a Zerg, but I had no idea about Sharp. Okay, so here we go in set number 1. Now, Samsung Khan has been doing god-awful lately, just depressingly bad. Getting 3-0'd left and right. Okay, so they got 3-0'd by Ace first, and then they got 3-0'd by KT by the second string KT players. And then they got 3-1'd by CJ, and the only guy who won was Turn, who beat Hydra. So Stork and Jangbi are both 0-3 in the last 3 matches, which is just so sad. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Air Force Ace, on the other hand, has been doing quite well recently. Snagging some wins, of course, notably the one against Khan. And they played some good matches. I think recently, actually, they had a pretty bitter 3-2 loss against, was it Stars? I can't remember. Anyways, so yeah, this is a rematch between Ace and Khan. And hopefully Khan can pull it out. I mean, Ace is supposed to be one of the weaker teams, but they've been really performing recently. Now, of course, a little bit of a disclaimer. I am, of course, a huge Samsung Khan fan, but I'll try not to be too biased in the commentary. I'll probably more just kind of sigh and be depressed when the Khan players inevitably fail. I have no hope for them anymore. Khan is like the new STX. They're just never gonna win another match. Calling it right here. Khan's days are over. That's alright though, I still love them. I bought a Samsung phone this morning. That's alright, that's how much of a supporter I am. Cause I have this really old crappy phone. And then the people at work convinced me I should go buy a smartphone. So I was alright. So then I went to the shop and I bought a Samsung smartphone this morning. It's a Galaxy W, I think? Yeah, it's a Galaxy W. So I got one of those. The guy was like, "Oh, you want to look at these HTC phones or whatnot?" I'm like, "No, just Samsung, man. Just give me a Samsung phone. I gotta support my boys, my Protoss heroes." Anyways, it looks like so Sharp actually didn't wall in with his first depot in barracks, but he's now starting to make a wall with his second depot. Is that what's going on here? That's a little bit interesting. Meanwhile, Orion, I think he just went for a 12 hatch. I made his third hatchery at the minimum only. I wasn't really paying attention. I was too busy talking about random things. There are Firebat Hero and GG Amo looking sharp. And indeed, Jumper is correct. I feel partly responsible for Khan's terrible performance. I'm so sorry. I apologize to Khan fans everywhere. I do feel responsible. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. What have I done? What have I done? So it looks like we have a 1-Rax expand into a quick gas. Usually this means a fast +1 attack build into 4 or 5 barracks marines, but from the Terran. So we're gonna be gonna have a nice big early / mid game Bioforce to run around the map and put some pressure on the Zerg, and ideally kind of keep the Mutalisks away from his own base. Yeah, if you're very aggressive with your M&M, you can force the Zerg to use his Mutas defensively rather than for harassment, which is very, very nice. Also, what was I gonna say? Damn, I had another interesting point. Oh yes, these early Marines. I was gonna talk about it. I was actually gonna say I was wondering why he wasn't being particularly aggressive with them. I mean, I think I said this in the Wednesday cast, but recently in TVZ we've just been seeing Terrans go crazy with their early Marines. Just like take your first 2 Marines, run out and try and kill an Overlord. They're just being super, super aggressive. And it looks like we do indeed have the fast +1 build from Sharp. So let's see what he can do here. Of course, in Khan's match against CJ, Turn played a very impressive TVZ beating Hydra. So let's see if this other rookie Terran can do something similar. Although of course Orion is not nearly in the same class as Hydra, but I don't think Sharp is quite as good as Terran either. So we'll see. Whoa, for a second there I thought I saw 2 academies, but I'm just going crazy. There's Coach January. Hopefully she's figured out like some good strategy to, not lose matches in the past couple of weeks. That would be quite beneficial. So we do have Spire going up for Orion. And should have some additional barracks. Looks like a second SCV is there. Gonna make 4. 4 or 5 racks is the standard when you're going this strategy as Terran. And it looks like the first Medic Marine group is getting ready to poke out here. He's gonna lead with an SCV, very, very smart. And just gonna scare Orion into making some sunken colonies, perhaps making a couple of Zerglings as well. The Spire should be finished though. Yeah, it looks like Orion's gonna try not to make any Zerglings. Needs to save those larvae for the Mutalisks. That actually makes this a very interesting timing to move out, with the Zerg, actually not wanting to spend any of his larvae. And looks like the Mutas are now on the way. As you can see, all of the eggs are morphing simultaneously. But Sharp sees this, so he should be prepared. Looks like SCV guy is now looking for the 3rd base. I'm actually interested to see how quickly Sharp, or Orion rather, takes that. There is something going down to the bottom left. That's probably a drone going to take that base. But you see, taking a 3rd gas on this map for Zerg seems to be a little bit difficult because there's no ramps and there aren't even any like really narrow choke points at the bases. Like if you take another main, I don't think you can just defend it with 2 or 3 lurkers. Probably because you probably need at least like 4 lurkers to defend it properly. This is how big the choke is between the main and the natural. I mean, normally Zergs they just go take another main and put some lurkers on top of the ramp, but you can't do that on this map. And interestingly, look at this. So Orion, instead of using his Mutas to go back and defend this Medic Marine attack, is just building mass sunken colonies, and instead staying on the offensive with the Mutas. Very interesting decision there by him. I mean, what I was talking about earlier was, with this mass, mass bio play in the mid game, it often forces the Zerg to pull back with these Mutas, but instead, Orion's just like, I'll just build 5 Sunkens and then kill all your SCVs. Although unfortunately for him, it didn't quite work out that way. He did take a lot of damage on the Mutas. He seems to have thinned out the SCV numbers a little bit, but I'm not sure if that was worth it. Of course, building all those sunken colonies does impact his own economy as well. Not only spending the money, but also using so many drones on those sunkens. And looks like he's actually double expanding now, taking the 12 o'clock and the bottom left, and he's sending a drone to the top right. Is he just gonna like triple expand? What the heck is Orion doing right now? See, the bottom left is finished, right? And the 12 o'clock has already started. So that's already an unusually fast fourth, and I don't understand why there's a drone at the top right as well. If he makes that into the hatchery, that's just gonna blow my mind. I don't even know how he affords that. I mean, it's interesting because actually, now that I think about it, you know, on this map you do have the protected mineral only behind your main. So having taken that so quickly, maybe he just has like so many minerals, he's taking all these bases. Now, did he skip lurkers though? Because I don't see any lurkers anywhere. There should be lurkers coming out soon. If he was getting that, is he going like... This is like crazy Zerg, but with 3 extra expansions. Like, what is this build? I don't understand. I mean, it looks like, yeah, see, Orion is just not going to even bother defending that bottom left base. He's just going to take other bases, and he's actually got like 2 control groups of mutas now. He's actually just going pure mutas, it looks like. He's just going to skip lurkers entirely. Orion has just taken Crazy Zerg to a whole new level. For those of you who don't know what Crazy Zerg is, it's basically describes a strategy where you go for Mutalisks straight into Hive, skipping lurkers. Which are usually what you want in the mid-game TVZ, because, you know, eventually your mutas are just not that effective, but this is like a very extreme version of it, expanding all over the place, and I think it's a good decision. Just it's kind of map dependent because of the extra income he's getting from that mineral only, and oh my god, he's just gonna fly over the Marines. Usually that's not a good idea. Marines are actually pretty cost effective against Mutalisks, especially with +1, but look at this, Orion's actually got +1 air attack on his Mutalisks, and he's actually taking down the main base of Sharp here. Sharp is in a lot of trouble. He might actually lose his academy here. Oh my goodness, not gonna be able to make any more medics. The science facility must have been cancelled there. The starport's lifted to allow the Marines better access into the base here. And this build, man, like, I can't believe a Zerg who is not Jaedong is actually pulling this off. Although if that SCV kills that hatchery, that's going to be awesome. Look, that SCV is actually taking over half health off that hatchery. It's like 600 damage with that little fusion cutter. That SCV, man, he is a hard worker. But there he gets taken down. And finally, it seems that Sharp has kind of taken control of his base, but that was a ton of damage. I don't know if he can recover from this. Now, on the other hand, hopefully Sharp is rebuilding the science facility. If he can get a vessel out, I mean, that would just drastically reduce the effectiveness of the mutas. So I think it was quite critical that Orion did prevent that science facility from going up. Of course, the Irradiate just so effective against the clumped mutas. Looks like some Zerglings running by. A couple of Sunkens to defend that base. And okay, looks like we actually do have some Hydras out. We do have Lurkers. By the way, the Observer showed in the main base just now. The Hive hasn't even started yet, so it's actually not crazy, or I don't know what to call this anymore. He's staying on Lair Tech for a very long time. He's just like playing a super drawn out Lair game here. Just now going for Lurkers after him building so many Mutalisks. And this is very interesting because usually what Zergs do, nowadays is you really want to get that Hive as quickly as you can, so you can get Defilers out, and then you do all kinds of fancy things with Defilers and Lurkers and Lings going into the late game. It's actually interesting because a couple of years ago, I'd say, actually this kind of heavier lair play was more popular. But it was more like Hydra Lurker things, you go for a much bigger mid-game army Hydra Lurker, which is actually, much more effective than just Lurker Ling, and kind of crush the Terran's army that way, but that, on the other hand, that does delay your Hive. But, that's pretty much fallen out of favor for the fast Hive play nowadays, so seeing this kind of super, slow Hive play again is very interesting, and it looks like Orion tried to go, wanted to go snipe that Academy again, doesn't quite get it, and does have to pull out. Still has 2 groups of mutas, it seems, and is doing a good job of keeping, a lot of the Terran forces back in the base. Looks like a lot of Lurker Ling now being produced for Orion. He does have, I'd imagine the 12 o'clock has been mining away happily for this, the whole time. He did lose the bottom left, but I don't think Sharp suspects the 12 o'clock has been taken at all. Usually the Zergs do just take, another main as their third. They just take the corner bases to try and make it, more difficult for the Terran to attack. They have to walk kind of further away. But it looks like Orion is going to lose his bottom left base once again, but he does have the 12 on the top right, so that's going to put him on 5 bases, or 4 gases, and Sharps is still only on his main and his natural, and it looks like actually Orion's just going to crush through this army here, saves the bottom left base, and now Sharp has 0 presence on the map. Orion has a ton of lurkers just popping at his natural now. Orion looks like he's going to take set number 1 for Ace. I don't really see what Sharp can do anymore. Looks like his first vessel is finally out, but he is just completely dead here against this ridiculous strategy from Orion. I mean, this is... Man, I don't know if this is really a good strategy. I would be interested to see, like, if Orion had tried this against a really high caliber TVZer, you know? Not necessarily against the top, like against Flash or something, but say, you know, have him play against Light, or something, or Fantasy, you know, really good TVZers. And see how this works, because this is kind of crazy to be delaying your defilers by this long. Although interestingly, another thing to consider though is that nowadays Terrans have kind of accounted for this really fast defiler play by going for very early mech switches and getting a lot of spider vultures with spider mines very quickly. So Lurkerling defilers actually has a very difficult time against that. Whereas, you know, if you're just not relying on the defilers at all and just going for mass mutas and lurkers, it's probably better. I don't know. I'm trying to like figure out exactly how this build works. This is my first time seeing anything like this. Oh my god. Orion just morphing a ridiculous number of lurkers here. He's actually going to have like 3 control groups of lurkers about to attack Sharp, and it looks like he's also breaking down the back power generators or whatever. No, they're, what are they called? Are they? No, they are power generators, right? Ion disruptors? I don't know. I don't know anymore. Whatever. He broke down the back door, and looks like, oh, Sharp doing a nice split here against these lurkers. Pretty decent marine control. Ah, he's got to keep splitting though. Got a little bit lazy at the end, but look at how many more lurkers are coming down here. And I think, well, Sharp does seem to have his backman or only now taken. But Orion's just got so many bases, he's making so many things. Did he just wall himself in again? He killed a Sunken to let himself out, but then he built a Nidus Canal where the dead Sunken is, so I think he might actually have blocked Ultralisks from getting out again. He also seems to have gotten double Ultralisk Caverns. That's most likely a mistake. It is not plausible, but possible that he got those to get both upgrades, the armor and the speed upgrade for Ultras. I mean, he does have a lot of money, and it's, you know, it's not unheard of for Zergs to get double Defiler mounts to get both Plague and Consume at the same time. Not so sure about getting the double Ultralisk Caverns, but anyways. Wow, we actually have a bunch of Scourge there. I don't think he's going to run them into the command center. That'd be a bit silly. It'd be funny if he had a queen there as well and just scourged the CC and infested it. But anyway, a bunch of units moving into the back here. I mean, Sharp's kind of began his mech transition, but it doesn't really matter. Sharp just getting torn apart here. Oh god, CB! Whoa! So, GG from Sharp. And Orion gives Air Force Ace the 1-0 lead here against Samsung Khan. Oh, Khan. I told you guys, they're just never going to win again. Poor Khan. Alright, so if somebody could actually link me to the game number 2 VOD, I would much appreciate it. I know they're on Esports TV, but I can't actually go to the channel because else, otherwise I'll get spoiled on how many games are in the set and who plays, or games in the series rather. So if somebody could link me, that would be fantastic. Anybody? Link? Bots? No? Uh, can somebody like go to Esports TV, find the VOD for the second set, and link it to me? Please, pretty please. Alright, I guess I'll just go like refresh the small VOD thread and see if it's there. Do do do. Small VOD thread.